Hi, welcome to the Careers Lab. We are in conversation with a lovely lady called Nzinga. So, hi Nzinga, good morning.
Hello, Dion. How you doing?
I'm very well. Now you're here, I'm very well. I'm sure you're gonna give our students some couple of gems that might be able to help them.
I'm gonna try. So yeah, definitely impart some wisdom, hopefully.
Oh, so should we start off with, that question where you think, oh no, why did she ask that? We won't
Mm,
start with that one. I'll leave
okay.
that to later. But what I will ask you is, give us a little bit about you, who you are, what you do, so our students can get familiarised with
Yeah.
you.
Okay. Well, first of all, how long have you got? Because one thing about me is I like to talk, but I'll try and keep it intentional.
No
So
problem.
my name is Nzinga Orgill. At the moment, I am founder and CEO of a company called AVI2I. We'll talk a little bit about that in a little while. In terms of who I am a Birmingham native. So I was born and raised in Birmingham to Jamaican parents, first generation immigrants. And I'm someone who's had an amazing career within the tourism sector, but also done some really amazing things outside of my professional spaces as well. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's me.
So let's talk about CEO. Did you say CEO?
I didn't stutter. Yes, I did.
So let's talk about the CEO. What is that? What do you do? What does that look like?
So for me, CEO comes from a term that I've heard before, which is Chief Energy Officer, but it's also the fact that I had founded and created my business. So it's all me, or was all me. I obviously now have a team that supports, but it was a child, a dream, a desire to try and create change in a space that much needed change. So I thought rather than wait for it to be done, let's do it yourself, Nzinga. So this is where we are.
So what is your company?
Great question. So ABI2I is all about inclusive tourism. And in particular, we look at responsible, inclusive communication because we believe communication is at the heart of everything we do, whether it's engaging with people, whether it's looking at processes, systems, whether we're building infrastructure, we need to communicate what's needed. And more importantly, when we talk about AI, prompting with purpose, you tell it to do something, you want it to do what you've told it to do in the right way.
So for our students, they may not really grasp that, the AI with work. How do you incorporate that within your sort of organization?
Oh, great question. So for me, it's about collaboration all the way. It's not about the machines are taking over and I'm taking a back seat. Ultimately, it's my business. I have the mission, the vision, and the purpose behind that, and I guide people through that. But I use AI to support me in terms of maybe finding out things that I'm not aware of, tidying up bits of information, pulling together resources, framing things in a way to make sure that I myself am being responsible and inclusive in how I communicate as a CEO.
Okay, so I think she's just giving you a tip there. But take us back. Before you was this CEO, what was you doing before that?
So the question is, what wasn't I doing? So one thing I will say, when I take myself back to when I was at college, which is only a few years ago,
Okay.
I was all about kind of figuring out what I wanted to do. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew the spaces I wanted to occupy. And for that reason, it allowed me to kind of focus myself in terms of development and growth in being around people and being in spaces which allowed me to communicate with different stakeholders. So as a result of that, I've had a very interesting and varied professional journey, which I'm really, really proud of. So prior to setting up my business, I had a nearly 18-year career history at one of the biggest airports in Europe. I am an aviation person at heart, so started off frontline in security and decided I want to try something different. So I moved around the entire organization. So I got to know different aspects of aviation and the airport. But even before then, it was retail. So I did a lot of retail, work. I did a lot of hospitality, so silver service, trade service, which comes in handy at Christmas when you've got a large family. Even before then, working in exhibition shows and conferences. So I've been really fortunate to have moved around and had a really powerful journey. And if I can say, one thing that has really served me well is being able to, first of all, bet on myself, be clear about what I enjoy, find roles that support that enjoyment, and then be clear about how I communicate my desire to want to get into those spaces.
Okay, so I'm hearing you've done a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but how do you sort of I would say sort of time management, because within everything you've done, one thing in terms of our students, time management is so important, and that skill is quite hard to learn, especially when you're young.
Yeah.
You know, you recognise that you need to be on time. You hear teachers saying you need to be on time. So, have you got any sort of tips that would help a young person?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, you know, as I mentioned previously, communication is really key, and communicating to people is really important. And time management for me is absolutely crucial. You know, they say the early bird catches a worm. Being there early gives you the opportunity to assess the situation, read the room, meet people who are also there early, have those conversations that happen before things officially start. And that's where I found most of my opportunities, in being early, in being on time, in being ready, in managing my time in terms of not just being at the event or the space at the right time, but also creating the time and energy to be ready for that space, has allowed me then to have some powerful conversations that have absolutely led to career opportunities. So I've been offered jobs on the back of it. I've been given speaking opportunities. I've been able to get into spaces and attend very exclusive events because I've been early, I've been present, and I've been ready.
Did you hear that? She gave you some tips there again. So you seem very confident to us, and that's a skill which in itself is very hard. Any tips for being confident in places where you feel really uncomfortable?
Yeah, so great question, because, you know, you can see I'm a woman, I'm a black woman, and there's some spaces that often might feel a little bit strange for me because I may be one of few, but that is not a reason or a barrier for me not to show up. And one thing that I find that really supports confidence for myself is practicing. I practice the conversations I want to have. I become familiar with how I want to speak about myself. I also think about the people that I'm speaking to. And for me, when you practice something so much, when the opportunity comes, it almost rolls off your tongue because you've done it so many times.
Yeah.
So I'm a massive advocate for that. Where you can practice, you know, I talk to myself, and I'm proud to say that because I think I'm the most interesting person in the world to me. So I'm happy to hear from me. But also it just means that I've heard myself out loud as well. So I know how I sound. And if I'm sounding like, I'm not convincing me, I'm definitely not convincing anybody else.
Are you like me, talking to the mirror?
Oh, mirror, hairbrush, anything.
And I would second that. It really does help, especially when you're going for an interview. And I'm sure you said you have a team. What's one thing that you would impart to our students in terms of smashing that interview and getting that job? I know there's many, so I said one.
Okay.
I'll give you two.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much. So the two I would say would be, the first one is to be prepared. And by prepared, I mean really do your research in terms of what the role is asking for and what the business is about that you're applying to. It's important that, you know, we talk about culture fit, but it's also about culture add. So what can you add and what can you enhance? And be clear about owning that when you go into those conversations. So it kind of ties into being authentic. What can you bring that's going to add value to that business and that organization?
And the second one?
And the second one is to own your journey and your story. It is you. There is no one built like you, no one made like you. You are the only version of you, and only you can do you in the best possible way. So when you go into those spaces, you know, talk about yourself, but talk about yourself with confidence. And that goes back to the practicing, talking to yourself about yourself, but talk about yourself with confidence. Highlight things that might not necessarily be on people's radars, and really enjoy the process, because ultimately when you're going for interviews, it's a two-way process. Do you want to work for the company, but also does the company want to bring you on board?
So, inspirations. Who has inspired you and why? One person, because I know you'll have many.
What is this one person thing?
We'll have her back, but one person, because there's a lot. That main.
Yeah, I think there is a lot of inspiration out there. I kind of steal and take from lots of different people because I might see something that I like and I enjoy. I'm going to keep it real. Like, my mum is my biggest inspiration. She is an absolute powerhouse, and she's authentic, and she raised myself and my brother to be the adults that we are today. And things that I didn't enjoy doing when I was younger is actually the reason why I'm in business now. So kudos to her for being authentic, for being unapologetic, and for paving the way, because I'm stepping on them pebbles and moving forward with my journey.
I know you are. Well done, Mum. Well done, Mum. You've got to say that.
Well done.
I won't go back to that one. There's the question that I have, guys. Bear with me. How do you motivate yourself? Because there are times when you think, oh, how do you motivate yourself to keep going?
Yeah, that's a great question. So for me, it is important that you are able to self-regulate and self-motivate.
What does that mean? Everyone says those words, self-regulate, self-motivate. Oh, what? Layman's terms, and in your guys, not layman's terms, but basically...
Yeah. So to self-regulate is to be aware of how you're feeling and what's coming up. It might be emotions, it might be feelings, and just knowing how to manage it in a way that allows you to be the best version of yourself in that situation. For example, there might be times you walk into spaces where we feel quite anxious. Yeah. Don't ignore it. Obviously, it's telling you something about how you're feeling, but manage it and control it in a way that allows you to be able to show up in a way that's going to be the best version of yourself in that given moment. And in terms of self-motivation, it's finding what really gets you motivated. And sometimes it's not even necessarily things that directly impact on you. One of the ways that I say self-motivated is by connecting things to, like, my family. The work that I do is transforming lives, it's transforming organizations, it's creating different experiences for my family, my community, the people that I care about, the next generation. And then also there's things around, motivating. I'm getting to travel and do amazing work, and it's something that I want to do and I enjoy doing. So find what gets you up, find what keeps you focused. Find somewhere to write it down or capture it to remind yourself, because on the days where it's grey and you're tired and it's been a long day the day before, you think, oh my gosh, look at that and remind yourself that this is why I'm doing it, because it'll keep you centered and focused.
And you do, as you mentioned, you have a business. I'm sure there's been many barriers. How have you managed to overcome them?
So barriers are inevitable. It doesn't matter who we are, we face them. Some are very different for other people. Some are more visible than others. For me, it's about being resourceful. So first of all, understanding what's within my power of control that I can influence and change. And if I feel, right, okay, I can't control this or I can't change this, who do I know? And that's why connecting and your network is so powerful. Your friends, your colleagues, everyone you're around is potentially your network and your community. And it's about leaning on people. If Nzinga doesn't have the answer, she will ask someone. And they will ask someone, and eventually I'll get the response that I need to allow me to move forward.
So let's talk networks, because I think that's so important. Many a times a conversation when we are talking, and when I'm talking to so many professionals, they talk about networks. How do you get into them? Where do you find these networks? Because it's, we talk to the students and say, get on this network, but they're like, how do we find them now?
So this is where social media is an absolute blessing, because there's a lot of people that will share things that are happening within the community, will share what it's about, so you're able to get involved. I do a lot of stuff in terms of looking on things like Eventbrite. If it's something that's of interest to me, I will register it and capture it and then maybe sign up to it. But also through my own circle of friends and community. Like, if I'm telling people what I'm interested in, if I'm telling people where I want to go and what I want to do, my people will tell me when the opportunities come up in terms of events and spaces. They will signpost me to things, and that means that therefore I'm signposting them to things, because it's a continuation where we're sharing all the time. So if I know Dion's into creative stuff, I'm going to be signposting that to you. If you know
Please do.
I will
Right.
Absolutely. And if I'm into aviation or tourism, people will tell me, oh, by the way, Nzinga, have you seen that conference? Have you heard about that event? I might have done, but if I haven't, I have now. So it's all about using your community to leverage getting into those spaces.
And that question that I said I would ask.
Go on, ask me.
If we go back, what advice would you tell your younger self? Although you look young already, but what would you tell your younger self?
Thank you. I will take that and take that and take that. In terms of what I would tell my younger self, it would be to not be so hard on myself, not be so, not to have such high expectations in terms of having to be perfect. You know, the journey isn't about being perfect. It's about progressing. It's about taking what you learn and using it to empower yourself and other people. The best opportunities I have had have come out of mistakes. And I'm not saying go out there and find mistakes.
No, don't. No.
Don't.
Do that, please.
But they
Not too many.
happen. They happen. And the amount of times I've had to pivot, trust yourself. I should, you know, if I could go back, I'd say, young, lovely Nzinga, trust yourself. You've got it. You will figure it out. And if you don't know it, you've got a network that will support you, but trust yourself because only you know what's best for you.
I agree. And I'm just I know time is short because we can talk for ages.
Oh, we
time
can.
is very short. They're probably already telling me to cut, but I'm not going to. But my last thing, when you think about when you was at college, did you ever think you'd be in this position now?
Do you know what? I knew I'd be something that would involve talking. And look at me now here chatting away. But I wanted to be a pediatrician when I first started off at school. And I realized I didn't like blood and I didn't like other bits that come out of human beings. But what I realized was the reason why I wanted to be in that space was because I care about people. So, yes, I kind of had an idea of exactly what it looks like. No, not can say that wasn't the case, but I think what I've been open to is allowing it to show up in whatever capacity it needs to and allowing it to evolve. So I had an idea, but not this idea, if that makes sense.
So I'm so sorry. We have to wrap up. We're going to have a part 2, aren't we, Nzinga?
And a 3 and a 4.
And a 5. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on board, and I'm sure we're going to delve deeper the next time into what you do outside of work, if that's okay.
That's more than fine. I'm happy to share.
But it was a pleasure. Thank you very much for joining us in conversation with yourself, Nzinga. Now, just drop your socials because it's only right to camera 4.
Hi, camera 4. So you can find me on LinkedIn, Nzinga Orgill. I'm the only Nzinga Orgill in the world. So if you're finding somebody else when you search that name, it's not me. But you can also find me on Instagram, also Nzinga Orgill, and you'll see me sharing tips around responsible, inclusive communication. Always here to be of service.